Keys to the Commonwealth, a podcast where we share the real stories of local community members who are using real estate to build personal wealth, along with tips and tricks from professionals across the industry. And now, your host, Landry Fields.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Keys to the Commonwealth podcast. We are back again this week, and I am honored to have Hunter Jablonski with me today. He has been quickly making a name for himself here. He made a name for himself elsewhere, and I'll let him kind of talk about that story a little bit. But excited to have him on with the Junk Magicians. Hunter, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So let's kind of, as we always do, start off the podcast. We always kind of ask, hop back in the door and kind of give a little bit of background information, how you got into the crazy world of junk as well as demolition, and where you started it all.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just talk 88 miles an hour, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm originally from the Reno, Nevada area. I went to school there, and I played lacrosse for the University of Nevada, Reno. Okay. Well, when COVID hit, they canceled all sports, all school, everything else. I saw a lot of my buddies kind of going down the drinking every day path and everything else. And I had a bunch of time on my hands and no money, and I had a pickup truck. So I said, hey, I'm going to start hauling junk.
Did you see a YouTube video or something? Or like what triggered I'm going to start hauling junk?
I saw a guy posting on Facebook saying that he was charging $100 to fill up the bed of his pickup truck. And I was like, man, that sounds like a sweet gig. So I started with that. It was just me and one of my buddies, Blaine, who I'll talk about him a little bit later. But just super fast, like we just started gaining a lot of traction just from people we already knew. A lot of people who played on the lacrosse team were from Reno, so their parents were referring me out and stuff like that. And then posted my first Facebook ad, and once I posted that, man, we were off to the races.
Really?
We were renting a dump trailer for a long time. Then I ended up buying one, and we just had that truck and trailer until the end of 2021. That's when I graduated college.
Yeah.
And then 2022, we exploded to 15 employees. We got a warehouse. We got 3 dump trucks. And then, I'd already met my girlfriend well before, but she's studying for her PharmD at UK.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, I'm going to move across the United States and open another one. Came out here, just fell in love with the area, fell in love with the people.
Yeah.
Everyone's super awesome. And we just brought all the same processes from Reno to here, clear, consistent customer service, clean, uniform technicians, and just fair pricing. We're not out to rip anyone off, and we've exploded. We got, just since we came here and opened in September, we got, 3 trucks running. We got a 4th on the way. We just ordered another gooseneck dump trailer. We got our demolition contractor's license, so we're knocking down houses and buildings, cleaning out border houses. I mean, we're a one-stop shop out here now, so.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you don't just move across the country and decide Lexington is my next market without having, a girl or some kind of reason to do that. But yeah, no, I meet more and more people, it seems like in the last couple of years, that are, from the West Coast out here of the thing. And I don't know, is it a different mindset just on the West Coast now of like entertaining? Like, did it used to be more of a thing like, oh, we're West Coast, we're not going to move. We're not going to move to the East Coast, or as things have changed with stuff, is it becoming more popular, I assume?
It's just expensive, man.
Yeah,
like that's the biggest thing. When I moved to Reno, you could get a house for $200,000. When I left Reno, you couldn't find one for less than $400,000.
Okay.
So just that spike. I mean, up until probably 2 months ago, we were paying almost $6 a gallon for diesel for our trucks out there.
Oh my God.
And it's like stuff like that. So, coming out here, it's like we can do the same work, we can make the same margin, but we can charge way less.
Yeah.
So it's a lot.
And that business is still going at this point too, right?
Yeah. So the guy I talked about, Blaine, before, Blaine and Nick, they're both my really, really good friends from college. Actually, my old roommates. They're holding it down for us out there. They're running everything, doing all the networking, all the managing employees, everything like that.
Because you, once you got here, you didn't waste any time getting on the Facebook groups, the networking groups. I mean, it's like I swear there's a twin. You're like all over the place right now in that sense.
I try my best, man.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, as far as jumping positions, like let's dive into that a little bit. As far as the unique aspect, especially with either realtors, with property investors, how there's definitely a niche and a product there that's really valuable to us. I think so. Lay it out. What were you normally doing in those cases, as far as the clean outs, junk removal, and demolition, and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with the junk removal side. The biggest thing for us is we tell all of our technicians to over communicate. You can never communicate too little.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. We have an hour arrival window for all of our customers, but they get a text message the morning of the appointment saying that hour window. They get a text message 15 minutes before the hour appointment window, so they know kind of where within that hour appointment window we're going to be showing up. And then they get another one 10 minutes when they're 10 minutes away, another one when they're there, and another one when it's over. So we don't want to be the cable company that, is doing that, especially realtors, property investors, anyone that has anything better to do than sit around at home. They don't want to wait around for a junk removal company to show up to come pick up their stuff. So that's a really big part of it.
And in that respect right there, though, I mean, I think it's so true from any business standpoint, right? Like you try to do that here at Nova Insurance, like over communicating, like your request has been processed, it's in the middle of working, it's now complete, different things like that. You can't over communicate. Like people aren't going to be upset from getting a notification just saying, hey, it's being done. Yeah. It's more of a reassurance that they're being kept in the loop with where everything is in the process.
Yeah. I mean, 99% of the notifications we send out, we don't get a response, but at least, at least they know
to get a response.
Yeah.
Something.
Exactly.
Okay. Nice.
The other thing too, we do everything from just a mattress pickup all the way up to we've done full floor to ceiling order houses, $20,000 plus jobs, hauling like almost 1,000 cubic yards out of these houses.
Yeah.
We train our technicians to go into a house and they look at every room individually and they pick out in their head what stacks together with what. Because when we're charging a load rate, we want to make sure the customer is getting the maximum amount of stuff that can fit in that load for the price that we're giving them.
Yeah.
So, for example, if they see 3 huge bulky couches, they're going to stand those up vertically and make the walls a little bit higher, pack all the loose stuff in the middle, and that way, they're not taking up as much room. All the way up to, at the end of the job, if we're removing the carpet or whatever, we'll sweep all of the small debris onto the carpet, roll it up, throw it in the trucks, and then pull all the nails and staples just to make sure. Our goal when we leave any of these houses is anything that relates to our scope of work, we do not want them to have to pay another cent to have any type of work done to clean up after us. Yeah. Because we are the cleanup company. Yeah. Right. So that's really important to us. The other thing too is our same day appointments especially for realtors. And any realtor watching, you've probably had a situation like this where you have a closing at 2 p.m. You go to check out the house at 11:30, and the baby grand piano or all of grandma's old boxes are still in the basement. Yeah. They said they were going to remove them, but you close in 3 hours. We specifically have a truck that sits at our warehouse for situations like that. Okay. Where, whether it's my operations manager, our receptionist Grant, or anyone can just jump in a truck and go on a moment's notice.
If you ever come across a free baby grand, though, you're going to give me a call and move it to my house because most people don't know I'm a pianist at heart. As far as used to teach piano and everything like that in my music days, but I want a baby. I'm moving. I've got room for a baby grand now. It's been my dream. So
we got a vintage upright piano in our warehouse right now, but no baby grand.
I want a baby grand, but and then which is obviously that's great and important from the junk side of things, but then that's just scratching the surface of really the capabilities of what you all offer as far as products and like that. So as far as real estate investors like myself. I mean, there's a huge value add on that side that you all do from either one demolition side of things, which I think that kind of speaks for itself. But obviously the clean out aspect, getting things prepared for what we as either property investors, flippers, real estate side of things want to do with it. So kind of talk about that, what you all offer, and how that is an amazing opportunity to just not only save money, but really money from saving time and being able to kind of, time is money in the sense that like you all being able to get things done quickly, efficiently, ready for real estate investors to get things going is key. Exactly.
Time is the most important thing when it comes to any type of investing whatsoever, right? It's all about timing. For example, if you buy a house and you have to wait an extra week on a contractor, like there could be a buyer in that week that's looking for that exact same house and they'll close on another property and you could potentially be sitting with that house for another 2-3 weeks paying on it. So that's the best part about us is we have such a big crew. We know what we're doing. We're trained. Like we can come into these houses and, clean out a full hoarder house in 3 days. We haul all our own stuff. We don't have to wait on dumpsters, nothing like that. So that's really important. And then a lot of times in these hoarder houses, once you get everything out, subfloor sagging, kitchen's disgusting to the point where it's not even worth remodeling it. So then we go in and Demolition Magician shows up, boom, rips out all the cabinets, rips out all the flooring, everything. We've done a ton of gut jobs. All the way up to, once everything's out of the house, you look at it and you say, this is not even worth, restoring. It would be better to just build a new house on it. Cool. Give us 2 weeks. We'll pull all the permits. We'll get our excavator out there and we'll take it down and haul it away. So truly a one-stop shop. We do it all.
And I know we've had some of the even guests here that we've had on the show before that have utilized you and spoken highly of that type of thing. Because like you pointed out, maybe it's you got to get down a subfloor, you got to rip out drywall, different things like that. I mean, I don't think necessarily like putting up support beams or something, from a contractor type of area, but. If there's a lot of times where we're just like, we got to get this thing down to like ripping out cabinets, a blank canvas in a kitchen or something like that, and being able to kind of get that done in just such a quick manner. I mean, it saves so much more time from on the other side, being able to get things back into place as quickly as possible.
And the other thing, we also do selective demolition. I mean, we just finished up a project over on Highcrest Drive over here in Lexington. Sad situation, the house caught on fire and burned down, but the subfloor, all the floor joists in the basement were in perfect condition. So now there is just a block foundation with the subfloor sitting on it left there because we took the house off of it.
Really?
And, all the plumbing, everything, we removed all of it. Like they literally just have a foundation, a block wall basement with a cement slab on the bottom and the subfloor on top. And now they can utilize an engineer. I refer them to a really good contractor that I know, and now they're able to save that part of their home that they loved. So,
and this is their own home. Type of thing. Interesting. So I can see the correlation there to property investors. Obviously, if you want to start from like 80%, from 20%, and do the rest of the 80% rather than to reset back to redoing foundation and entirely kind of thing. And that could be key.
And the biggest thing is, when it comes to investing, I myself also, am trying to get into investing and doing stuff. So I know saving money is the most important thing. So we're not going to show up and say, oh, this basement's shot. Like you have to get rid of everything. I'm calling a contractor to come in to look at everything to make sure everything's okay. And then quoting it based on what they say. Like the contractor who came in was like, this subfloor, these joists look awesome. Like you could absolutely save these. Cool. Then I talked to the structural engineer that I know, and I said, hey, how do we go about doing this? Talked to the contractor. She sent me plans. Boom. We did the demolition based off of all the information that we received, and now they can just build on the existing foundation.
Well, that's awesome. And with that respect, I mean, there's lots of different options when it comes to some of this, like clean out or those like that. But I mean, it's important, I think, and that's where the value you all come in the sense of weighing maybe the price might be a little bit different. Maybe a lot of times it's cheaper. I know I've heard some stories with that aspect from you all. But at the same time, like if you're able to save time from a multiple, somebody's going to take a week to do a clean out, for example, versus we're going to do it in 3 days and be done and out of there. And you're not going to think twice as far as having to get calls back or forgot something or whatnot. I mean, you've got 2 or 3 days extra now for contracts and stuff like that and start working on stuff. Man, that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're never going to be cheaper than, the guy with no overhead, right? They're going to beat us.
Who probably is not insured.
Exactly. And that's why they're beating us, right? But we really make sure to keep our costs fair. We really make sure to work with the customer. Like, we have a lot of people who we go through the house and we find expensive furniture, we find jewelry, everything, and then we give it to them, and that pays for the cleanup, right? We've also worked with people who, their loved ones have passed away. We actually found a will and testament and a deed to a house in one house.
Yeah.
Gave it to them, and she's like, cool, well, the house is in probate right now, so now I can go give this to the probate attorney, and we can make the process go a lot faster, right?
Right.
So we really do our due diligence. The other thing that especially investors love about us is we offer financing. And the financing that...
Really?
Yeah. So,
I knew that.
So the financing we use has no early payoff penalty. And it's...
Okay, so wait, back up there. So define financing. Financing for your services?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not saying financing for the properties. You're not starting with financing. Just making sure that that was crystal clear as far as what we were saying. So financing for your services in that aspect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chunk Magician's now offering hard money lending. No.
Well, that's why I was like, wait a minute. That can't be.
Yeah. So any job between $1,500 and $1,525,000.
Yeah.
Basically instant pre-approval. So it's really awesome because if you have a property that you bought on a tight budget or limited cash flow or whatever, and you have,
where you might have the paycheck coming on the back end kind of thing.
Exactly.
Obviously, you probably scrutinize that a little bit, just looking over the plan and so forth, I assume.
But with the financing, it's awesome because there's no early penalty.
Yeah.
And so if you get the house cleaned out and then you get it remodeled, like, you might only be making a $200 a month payment on that. And the second you sell the property, you just take the money out of, escrow or whatever, and you just pay it off.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
I don't know about that.
That's really cool.
When did you start that? Recently?
We've had it for a long time.
Okay.
And we've just never marketed it. And now that we started marketing it, we've opened up a whole nother side to our business.
Interesting.
So now we're out in like South Iso, we're in Lancaster, we're in Pikeville, like we're in all these places.
All the way up to Pikeville.
Yeah. It's one of those things, especially for demolition.
Yeah.
Like, we haul our machines down there, and then the guys just have to, jump in their Camry or something.
Just local dumpsters, I guess, and you pick them up type of thing some places.
Yeah, so if we're going like 2 or 3 hours for a job, we're going to contract out a dumpster rental company to help us out. If it's anything within like an hour radius, we'll just take our gooseneck trailers and just load everything in and, sort concrete from, whatever, and haul it all off.
Interesting. I know I've definitely seen some of the stuff from the stories and so forth, but I know definitely have had some interesting stories out of your years of experience already, right?
Yeah.
You got to give me a couple of those.
Oh, man.
Or maybe a hoarder one, or like the one you did a demo on from a couple months back, the guy next door, the house next door.
You got to remind me on that one.
What happened to the house next door while you were
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That was the craziest thing.
So we were over off of 7th Street. Those of you who know Lexington and invest in that area, you'll probably know the 3 houses that caught on fire. We knocked all those down, and while we were wrapping up the last house, someone lit the apartment complex next door on fire. And so I was actually doing a lunch and learn for another real estate company, and my phone is just blowing up. Yeah. And so I'm like, I got to take this to my operator. He calls me. He's like, hey, man, like, we had to stop working because the apartment complex next door, someone just lit it on fire. And I'm like, what? So I run over there. All of our equipment's like just pushing all the debris out of the way so the fire trucks can can drive on the lot and spray it. And then we had to push the dumpsters out of the way and screwed up one of the dumpsters. So the dumpster rental company wasn't happy with us, but it actually worked out really well because that was a very, very code enforcement. Code enforcement was going to find them like the next day. And we had started, he called me to start the demo on the Friday before. So I had permits pulled, excavator on site, everything by Monday morning for that. So when we told code enforcement what happened, they gave us an extra 2 weeks.
Interesting.
So that was awesome.
That's so crazy because your guys saw the dude.
Literally saw the dude. We've had them, more just all the time, like mobile homes.
Yeah.
If we pull up to a property and there's a mobile home with moss growing on it, 9 out of 10 times it's not going to be a fun time for us because they're abandoned mobile homes and they're like, hey, I want to get this removed. Well, if we need to demo the mobile home, we have to clean it out first, or else the second we rip a wall off, if a gust of wind comes, there's going to be garbage everywhere. So when we'll go in and it'll be a 15-year-old abandoned mobile home with stray cats living in it.
Oh gosh.
And we're like respirator on everything.
I don't think I ever told you this, but I had a little taste of doing clean out before. I don't think I told you about this, did I? So what would that have been? Spring 2005, New Orleans.
Oh,
Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, wow.
We and our college kind of group I was involved with, a bunch of us go down there and to New Orleans, and we were just kind of partnering with local community center or churches and stuff like that. And there was like a list of different members or people as far as their houses that they just needed that whole thing done, right? They needed the drywall ripped out, all the just furniture, carpet pulled up, just pulled out of the house, so they can go in there kind of like that, reset, redo their house. But it was, now that I think about it, we weren't wearing full respirators. It was like maybe not even, it was probably like N95 at best kind of things. We're like in the white zip up like suits that you kind of discard and dispose of, and boots, and it was wild though. You just go in there, and so it's nothing like probably some of the stuff you've seen. I just remember distinctly though, the worst thing was like it would be weird because in that case there'd be neighborhoods we go into and there's not a soul in the whole neighborhood. So it was like this weird eerie feeling like it's like an abandoned ghost town kind of thing. And so, but I just remember we'd go in and be like, the number one rule was don't open the refrigerators.
Never. Never. And it's funny because when we have guys that just first start working for us, we already know if the fridge is bad. We're like, hey man, can you go clean out the refrigerator? And they'll open it and they'll be like, oh, that's like our initiation. Yeah. But
because that was when it just don't open the refrigerator, you just duct tape that thing or whatnot, and because it'd be like black ooze coming out of it and stuff. It was horrible, but that was my taste of kind of some of the things that you did.
Yeah, we worked for this apartment complex in Frankfurt, and I'm not going to say their name because they got stuff going on. But we would walk into these units and.
Like an eviction or somebody that...
No, it's so what happened is the previous maintenance guys that were there, they, let's just say, weren't exactly the most decent human beings. So there was a homeless encampment behind the place. Well, when they got fired, that's where they would go and live, is in the encampment behind the apartments. And they knew which color locks meant that the units were vacant. So they would kick the doors in and squat there. So we would clean out the same units like 5, 6, 7 times.
Oh my God.
Right? And it was everything from the plumbing not working, so they're, going to the bathroom in coolers in the middle of the floor. There's bed bugs everywhere. There's roaches everywhere. There was one tenant who climbed up through the attic and broke into another unit through the ceiling, like some Mission Impossible type stuff, stole the copper out of the plumbing and everything. But I think the best story from that complex is we walk into a unit at 7 a.m. I'm like, and this is back when we first started. So me and my operations manager was just us in the truck. Yeah. And we open the door and there's just 3 dudes smoking crack in the living room. Like just sitting there, crisscross applesauce, smoking crack. And they look at us and I look at them. I'm like, clean out, crew. You guys got to leave. And one guy's like, all right, let me find my phone. He couldn't find his phone, so he started getting like really angry and like throwing stuff. So then we ended up leaving, calling the maintenance manager. Dude walks in there with like 3 other maintenance guys, kicks him out. And then you just stand at the back balcony and you watch him walk down and then into the woods where the homeless camp is to come back to break into another unit. So
if you stay in this long enough, you're just going to have probably endless stories. I'll write a book here in about 10 years.
I honestly should write a book because there's a lot of stories that I probably I really want to share because they're hilarious, but I probably shouldn't share on this podcast.
Sure. Or just start a podcast like junk removals, junk stories or whatever. It's like the craziest stuff, I'm sure you could say.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate the time. I mean, as far as what's the best way to kind of, if anybody, especially in the Kentucky area, need to kind of utilize your services, get an assessment from you all that they could think you could help them out with, what's the best way to get a hold of you all or find you all? Yeah,
absolutely. So we're really content heavy. We try to, we like to make people laugh, especially like junk magicians, right? You can do a lot of stuff with that.
It's a great logo.
Yeah. We'll show up with a wand and just make everything vanish, right? So we post a lot on TikTok. Our TikTok handle is Junk Magicians Lex. Facebook's a big one for us. Is Junk Magicians Lexington. Or the actual name is Junk Magicians Demolition and Junk Removal as the header. Instagram, Junk Magicians Lex also.
Okay.
Or just give us a call, 859-533-1420. You'll either talk to me, Josh, or Grant. Those are our 3 office guys. Yeah. Or our website, which is junkmagicianslexington.com. Everything we do is also automated. So, book through our website, super easy. I mean, if you're one of those people who don't like to talk to people, you don't have to talk to us, no trouble showing. So,
I personally use you all, and it's quick, efficient, and you're in and out. And it's been
Didn't we get a piano for you?
Yeah, that wouldn't tune anymore. It was a little tiny thing. It was falling apart. You couldn't tune it. That was the biggest thing anymore. And so it was a little tiny upright type of thing.
Well, if a baby Grant comes into our donation pile. Oh, and that was the other thing I forgot to touch on.
Yeah.
Since we last talked, you had mentioned to us the Southland Church over there.
Yeah.
We take like 2 loads there a week now, man. They're fantastic.
They can donate to.
Yeah. So anything in good condition, we donate.
Yeah.
Everything that's recyclable, we recycle. Probably only about 25 to 30% of the stuff we pick up actually goes to the landfill.
Really?
Everything else gets completely redistributed. Our warehouse, 6,100 square feet. We got a Bobcat in our warehouse. Scrap pile gets big. We load it up and recycle it. Donations.
Yeah.
Every single Friday, we take that truck that I mentioned, is always on downtime, we load it up and just haul loads over there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Tires, everything. We recycle everything.
That's awesome. Hey, I appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on the show. And we'll see everybody back next week on another episode of Keys to the Commonwealth. Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks for having me.
To learn more about this podcast, visit our page at keystothecommonwealth.com. To connect with Landry regarding insuring your investment portfolio, email Landry at novainsuranceGroup.com or call 859-687-2004.